Imagine a massive global enterprise where countless angels work around the clock, Heaven Corp. Yet there existed a faction consumed by envy toward this thriving corporation and its CEO, God. Namely, the head of the rival firm, Hell Corp, Lucifer, alongside his subordinates, the demons. Today, the subject we have prepared at Flat Archive is demons. Operating out of a headquarters situated in the heart of a boiling inferno, Hellcorp's CEO Lucifer was originally a high-ranking C-suite executive angel holding a prominent position at Heaven Corp. However, driven by hubris, he challenged the authority of the chief executive and was ultimately terminated for insubordination and disrupting the corporate order. Following his expulsion, he established his own operation down in Hell, steadily expanding his influence by employing a massive workforce of demons. The word demon originally denotes a wicked or malevolent spirit. While nearly every culture around the globe possesses entities symbolizing evil, like evil spirits or ghouls, the demons we are examining today are those specifically defined within Christianity and Judaism. These faiths explain that demons are essentially angels who fell from grace. Their ultimate objective is singular: to sabotage every aspect of God's plan, driven by a deep-seated thirst for revenge after being cast out of heaven. The problem, however, is that the power dynamic between heaven and hell is a classic David and Goliath scenario. After all, even Lucifer, who instigated the original rebellion, was swiftly neutralized by an archangel before he could ever get near the Almighty. Desperate for vengeance, but lacking any real chance in a head-to-head confrontation with God, they needed a new strategy. That is when their eyes fell upon God's most prized creation, humanity. If we can tempt these humans and lead them to ruin, that will be the ultimate way to provoke God's wrath. And thus began the greatest scam, a massive deception perpetrated against all of humankind. When you really think about it, their tactics seem rather petty and pathetic. According to the International Association of Exorcists, beyond mere temptation, demons carry out 4 specific operational tasks. First is infestation. This involves infusing a specific location or object with demonic energy, much like a classic haunted house. Second is oppression. True to its name, this refers to the infliction of actual physical harm upon a person. Third is obsession. This is a psychological assault, trapping an individual's mind in a loop of abnormal, intrusive thoughts. Fourth is possession. This is the complete and total takeover of a human body. Lucifer, the most famous demon in the world and the very first fallen angel. Surprisingly, however, a demon by the name of Lucifer did not actually exist in the original biblical texts. The name Lucifer was originally a Latin term meaning light bringer or the morning star. In the early Old Testament, it was used merely as a metaphorical expression to satirize an arrogant king of Babylon. But during the translation process in later eras, the word became permanently cemented as a proper noun symbolizing the devil. What is truly fascinating is the immense curiosity humanity has harbored toward this concept of demons throughout history. This interest was so profound that people dedicated themselves entirely to establishing a formal field of study called demonology, constructing elaborate mythologies and meticulously categorizing demonic ranks and hierarchies. Upon closer inspection, it seems we have always been far more captivated by demons than by angels. Could this human obsession itself have been a demonic temptation? The most famous demonic hierarchy in history was compiled by the 16th century German theologian Johann Weyer. If you examine his work, Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum, the scale of their organization easily rivals that of any modern Fortune 500 company. He even subdivided the demonic class structure to perfectly mirror the feudal system of medieval Europe, placing Lucifer, the absolute monarch of hell, at the very top. He arranged countless high-ranking demons beneath him in an intricate chain of command cascading down through kings, dukes, marquises, and earls. In truth, the real reason Johann Weyer created such a detailed hierarchy was to satirize and criticize the people of his time who had become overly obsessed with demonology, ultimately fueling the madness of witch hunts. Ironically, however, the mythology Johann Weyer constructed proved so captivating to the public that it actually caused a surge in the number of people fanatically obsessed with demons. The foundational blueprint for this demonic lore is known as the 72 Demons of Solomon. This refers to the 72 demons that King Solomon, the King of Wisdom, purportedly sealed away and commanded himself. Drawing inspiration from this, the grimoire known as the Lemegeton meticulously catalogs the profiles of these demons, much like a modern-day Pokémon Pokédex. It features perfectly designed profiles detailing each demon's unique rank, specialized skills, and even the specific sigils required to summon them. For instance, the first demon, Bao, can manifest in 3 forms: a toad, a cat, or a human, and possesses the power of invisibility. The 9th demon, Paimon, is recorded as appearing as a handsome man wearing a crown and riding a camel, commanding a massive legion of demons. While the difficulty of summoning them is exceedingly high, it is said that once successfully called upon, they impart esoteric knowledge of the arts, sciences, and the hidden secrets of the world. When you pause and think about it, don't they seem to offer humanity more practical assistance than your average angel? Furthermore, by assigning specific demons to each of Christianity's 7 deadly sins – pride, greed, lust, wrath, gluttony, envy, and sloth – a flawlessly integrated mythology was born, one that continues to deeply enthrall countless fantasy writers and geeks today. While people verbally professed a fear of demons, in their minds they were more enamored with them than anyone else. When we think of a demon in the modern era, a very quintessential visual comes to mind. It is the image of a monster with horns sprouting from its head, a pointed tail, crimson skin, and a pitchfork in hand. In antiquity, however, demons lacked any specific defined physical appearance. They were merely abstract, conceptual entities symbolizing evil. An official character design, so to speak, simply did not exist. The first visual representation of a demon in recorded history did not emerge until the 6th century. It was discovered in a mosaic mural inside a basilica located in Ravenna, Italy. Looking at this artwork, you might find yourself asking, where on earth is the demon in this picture? Surprisingly, the blue-hued figure in the mosaic is in fact the demon. It looks entirely identical to the angels we are familiar with, distinguishable only by a different choice of skin pigment. As time passed, however, the visual design of demons began to grow increasingly sophisticated. The prevailing logic became that a demon should inherently possess a hideous exterior, the exact antithesis of God's human creations, or the lamb that symbolizes the Savior. The victim, whose design was most unfairly plagiarized during this transition, was Pan, the god of shepherds in Greek mythology. Pan possessed the form of a half-human, half-goat. He was a mischievous, lustful deity who also harbored a deep love of music. The early Christian church argued that Pan's behaviors and physical traits bore a striking resemblance to the demonic, swiftly appropriating his exact visual identity to serve as the official image of the devil. Furthermore, because Pan was a pagan god, a figure meant to be ostracized at the time, he made for an exceptionally convenient target for demonization. There is even a hypothesis suggesting this association originated when ancient people witnessed wild goats exhibiting erratic behaviors, such as standing on their hind legs or leaping into fires, mistakenly concluding that the animals were possessed by demons. It may sound a bit outlandish, but it is a rather compelling theory. From then on, by attaching massive bat wings to this half-human, half-goat body and changing its skin to a blood-red hue, the character design of the demon began to cross boundaries, evolving into something increasingly grotesque. However, as we moved through the 17th century, another decisive shift in the demonic image occurred. The epic poem Paradise Lost, published by the great English poet John Milton, played a monumental role in this transformation. In this masterpiece, Lucifer is not portrayed as a simple villain, but rather as a profoundly complex and conflicted anti-hero. He is depicted as a figure who rebels against divine rule, valuing the pursuit of his own freedom far more than his place in heaven, even if it means being cast out. The 17th century was a period when Western society was gradually beginning to emphasize reason and individual liberty. Rather than unconditionally submitting to the absolute power of God, people found themselves inexorably drawn to the existence of Lucifer, a being who thought and chose for himself. From this point onward, an outpouring of romantic artworks began to depict demons not as monsters, but in the form of beautiful human beings. And today, demons are constantly drafted as regular fixtures in Hollywood and countless other pop culture mediums, enduring what you might call a rather blissful overwork. From various video games and movies to comic books and television dramas, it is incredibly common to find demons themselves or captivating characters named after them. In particular, the multi-dimensional demons brought to life in the hit American drama Supernatural, along with the myriad demonic characters scattered across media, have left a profound and lasting impression on us. Demons have continuously transformed alongside the currents of time. Perhaps we humans are instinctively drawn not to the noble, flawless, and perfect celestial beings, but rather to these fallen angels, because in their occasional frailty and imperfection, they bear a striking resemblance to ourselves. This has been Flat Archive. Thank you for watching.